All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. The finals for men's open bodybuilding just wrapped up at the 2022 Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio, and the results were surprising, to say the least. I think a lot of people had different expectations for what the outcome would be. So first, I'll run you through the placings, and we'll talk about why I think the guys placed the way that they did. So in 6th place, you had Brett Wilkin. In 5th place, you had Justin Rodriguez. In 4th place, you had Samson. In 3rd place, you had Steve Kuklo. In 2nd place, you had William Bonac. And in 1st place, you had Brandon Curry. So I would say the most controversial of these placings was the showdown between Brandon and Bonac. So to be honest, I'm a huge Brandon fan. But I got to be completely honest, I thought at prejudging, Bonac might have had him. I'm going to be curious to see the scorecards when this thing's all said and done and see what the scores were comparatively for the night show versus prejudging, because my thinking was, I think Bonac might have had Curry at prejudging, and my thinking was going into the night show that Curry was going to have to be improved in order to win this thing. But I thought if he did improve for the night show, he would do enough to win. Honestly, I really didn't think that Curry improved that much between prejudging and the night show, and I think that this was an extremely close decision between 1 and 2. A lot of people counted out Bonac this past year. Most people did not have him in their top 2 in their predictions. I thought that he would be second. He did wind up being second, but that was really one of the controversial things that we saw here. A lot of people in the crowd seemed to disagree with that decision. There's even a guy when we were walking out the door that yelled Bonac was robbed. So people thought, and I think rightfully so, because Bonac really brought one of the best packages we've seen him bring in a long time and really returned to his original form. I mean, we saw him slip in placings over the past couple of years, but what we saw from Bonac tonight was really the Bonac that we were used to seeing. This was a prime, ready, and really conditioned, really detailed Bonac, and I thought he really gave Brandon more of a run for his money than even I expected that he was going to. I mean, like I said, in my predictions I had him second, but I really didn't think it was going to be as close as it was. And man, in my mind, I was thinking if Brandon doesn't pull this off at the night show, Bonac's going to win. And when I saw Brandon come out and they did the call out of just Brandon and Bonac, and that pretty much solidified that that was going to be the top 2, and I was watching them pose, Bonac was really impressing me. I'm not going to lie. As big of a fan as I am of Curry, I was actually kind of surprised. I'll honestly say, when they announced the placings and they said in 2nd place, William Bonac, I was honestly surprised. I don't know if I would necessarily use the word robbed, but I was surprised that Bonac didn't win. I will say that. I think he really pushed Brandon here, and I think a lot of you guys might agree with that statement. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about those top 2 placings. Now, let's talk about the placings further down the line in the top 6. So Brett Wilkin in 6th place. I originally had him in 5th place in my predictions, and it looked like at prejudging they were going to be putting Brett in 5th place. The way they were comparing him with Samson Data, they were comparing Brett and Samson in their own call-out. It looked like that was going to be 5th and 6th. It looks like Brett slipped. Samson looked amazing, and I think he looked better at the night show than he looked in prejudging. He got better call-outs at the night show than he got at prejudging. He got a call-out with him, Steve Kuklo, and Justin Rodriguez. And in that call-out, I think he really looked good. His midsection was good. He had a lot of detail on his abs. His conditioning was good. Very aesthetic physique, kind of reminiscent of a Sean Roden type of physique. And you're looking at that call-out here of these 3 guys, Justin, Steve, and Samson in this lineup. And honestly, prejudging, Justin looked a lot better, I think, than he looked here. I think Justin slipped significantly, and that was reflected in his 5th place placing. I think at prejudging, almost everybody had him 3rd. Some people were even saying they had him as high as 2nd. But I think his conditioning really slipped between prejudging and the night show. And I keep saying that, prejudging and the night show, because usually the Arnold Classic is a one-day show. The prejudging for men's open bodybuilding is usually the same day, Saturday at noon, and then the night show a few hours later is the finals. So this was the first year at the Arnold they had a whole day in between where either A, they had some extra time to improve and tighten up and look better at the night show, or B, they had some extra time to slip, miss their peak, be past their peak, eat too much, whatever the case was. That extra time could really be a blessing or a curse depending on what happened in that 24 hours. And for Justin, it looked like it might have been more of a curse than a blessing, because it looked to me, if you looked at his midsection, it looked to me like his midsection was really getting washed out. It was losing a lot of detail, and really just not the same Justin that we saw at prejudging. I think that's why he wound up in 5th. Keep in mind, he was 4th last year. So even though at prejudging he looked better this year than he looked last year, he even slipped in placings because I think of that appearance at finals. He just looked that much different. And then, of course, that means Samson wound up in 4th place. I think Samson looked phenomenal. He really deserved that. Conditioning was really good. Beautiful physique. Posing was good. Well-deserved. Steve Kuklo wound up in 3rd place, the same placing he got last year. So while not a bad placing, I'm sure that Steve was looking to improve upon that and crack into that top 2. But I definitely think that the placings here were justified. I think Bonac and Brandon were a solid 1 and 2, and Steve, while like I said, he might be disappointed with 3rd place, I think the top 2 was definitely between William and Brandon. But overall, it was a really good show. I think it was really competitive. I think the results were surprising across the board, and that's always fun for conversation when you're talking about the show afterwards. Like classic physique, that decision with Breon Ainsley winding up in 4th place. It was a pretty controversial decision. A lot of people disagreed with it, but that's the kind of thing that makes bodybuilding enjoyable. It's such a subjective sport. It's so opinion-based, and that's why the fans can get so passionate and get so involved, because nobody's opinion is really wrong. An opinion, by definition, can't be wrong. So it makes bodybuilding so much more interesting when you got a drastic placing like that, because it gives you something to talk about. And then seeing Bonac take 2nd here, I think we're going to see a lot of people talking about that in the coming days. And maybe tomorrow we'll do a video when the scorecards come out and kind of break down. I would like to see some of the actual pictures. Even though I was at the show and I got to see it live, I would like to see the pictures. I've seen some of the live stream footage, and it looked to me like the lighting was a little bit dark in some of the footage from the live stream. It didn't really look that dark. No, I guess it kind of did look dark in person, but I would like to see some photos and see if the lighting comes across differently, if you can see anything different that you otherwise couldn't see in the video or couldn't see in person. And then we could do like a breakdown video tomorrow with the scorecards. But overall, I am curious to hear what you guys think. Definitely, there was a passionate response from the crowd when Bonac took that 2nd place spot, and I think that was deserved. I think Bonac, like I said, really gave Curry a run for his money. I would not have been mad one bit if William Bonac wound up winning that show. I could totally see that. It would totally be justified, and that would have been huge. That's how good William Bonac was. Everybody counting him out, but Brandon Curry, he's a Mr. Olympia champ. He's an Arnold Classic champ, and for Bonac to push him like that after the placings that Bonac has had over the past couple of years, I think is a tremendous accomplishment for him. It's a huge feather in his cap, and I don't think we should understate how impressive it was for him to put together the physique and the package that he put together here. So shout out to all these guys. They all look great. But William Bonac, I think, was really the story of the show, just the way he was just able to turn things around over the past few years. So that's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Please make sure you give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet already. As always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.